Good morning, Year 6. Miss Owen here for your next reading skills session, carrying on with the ancient Egyptian theme of my reading skills lessons. And this one we're going to be looking at an extract of a story called Tomb Raider. So let's make a start. The tombs that sat beneath the ancient pyramids at Giza were designed with one thing in mind: to keep the deceased buried. They weren't built to be opened, and they certainly weren't constructed to allow keen adventurers to go rummaging around trying to find the treasures contained within. None of this was going to deter Anna Jones, a reckless archaeologist fresh out of university. She'd grown up watching heroes enter the catacombs and re-emerge weighed down with troves of gold. She wanted that. She wanted the riches and the adventure that went along with it. So far, things had been going to plan. She'd avoided the pit just inside the entrance and wedged a piece of wood into the sliding block that threatened to trap her forever. Now it was simply a case of finding the blasted burial chamber. In a way, this was part of the fun, wandering aimlessly along pitch-black corridors, finding nothing but empty disappointment in room after room. In another, more real way, it was infuriating. Nobody ever told you about this bit. As she kicked yet another mark in the sand outside yet another empty chamber, she cursed her bad luck. Then she corrected herself. Even though she considered herself a very sensible, down-to-earth kind of person, curses were not something to be taken lightly in the tomb of an Egyptian pharaoh. There were rumours that any soul who entered the burial chamber would leave a shadow of itself, unable to enter the afterlife. Anna reassured herself that such things were nonsense and carried on along the corridor. Further along the passage, her weak torch illuminated a large pile of rubble. She scrambled to the top, but couldn't find anywhere that it had fallen from. "This looks more promising," she muttered. She jumped slightly at the faint echo of her own voice. She knew that tomb builders would often block off the main chambers with piles of rocks. Desperation took over, and Anna started to claw at the stones, throwing them behind her as she tried to make a hole through the other side. Her fingernails split and bled, but she was too close now to care. Suddenly she stopped. She held a large stone in her hand. Listening carefully, she tossed it into the darkness. The expected echo reverberated around the stone walls, but there was something else, a tapping sound. She threw another stone. Again the echoes died away, and the tapping sound followed. It sounded like something tapping rhythmically on the hard floor, like drops of water or a walking stick. She strained her ears and heard a second sound. This one was more like something heavy being dragged or scraped along the floor. A renewed sense of urgency gripped Anna. She was stuck. Should she continue on into the chamber or head back towards whatever was making the sound? She turned back to the pile and pressed on. Stone after stone flew behind her. The tapping and scraping grew louder. With her last ounce of strength, Anna clawed away the final stone and fell into the chamber beyond. A look of terror etched itself on her face, and she screamed silently. Somebody was waiting for her. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen to Anna. Right, here we go. These are your questions for the day. So we've got another retrieval focus for our top section, and then we've got our Vipers questions underneath. So go ahead, pause the video now and answer those questions for me. Okay, and here are your answers linked to this reading skills session. So we've got our retrieval focus answers at the top, and then our Vipers underneath. Hope you've enjoyed this text. It might be an idea for you. I don't know, if something is a little extra thing for you to do. You could maybe carry on the story. Tell me what happens next. There's a little prediction sort of activity for you. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you again next week for another reading skills session. Bye!